Tony from CassetteCombat.com. Now, before I continue with the rest of this video, which you already know what it's about because you've read the title, I just want to backtrack a bit regarding the last video and the Panda cassette player. A couple of things. One, the Panda is mono all the way through. So I played MP3s through it, listened to it through the headphone jack, and that's mono there too, so it's completely mono. The other thing is regarding the new cassette player I've been working on, and I'll give you the update on it. I contacted and got in contact with the company that makes the stuff for GPO, you know, like the Brooklyn Boombox and stuff. And the bottom line is this: to get a prototype made is going to cost more money than I want to spend on this. I mean, I'll not give you the actual figures, but I would need to sell 600 of them at 50% profit at $99 each before I even broke even. So I'd need to sell at least 601 of them to make a penny, and that's not saying that when I get the prototype made that it'll be good enough. You know, I could spend these tens of thousands of dollars getting a prototype made that would look good, but it would still be using Tenacious mechs and other stuff, and it might just not sound good enough. So considering that the It's Okay, even though it's a mono one made out of regular bits, only sold 958 and they're cheaper than what mine would be, I just don't think it's economically viable at the moment. So for now, that project has been shelved. So thanks for those of you that said they would buy one. Thanks for your support, but it's not going to happen, at least not in the near future anyway. It's just simply too expensive. I didn't realise the cost involved. I thought it would be regular components, off the shelf, a PCB, whack it in a case. I didn't realise that they would have to retool all of it and it would cost tens of thousands. I mean, I used to make watches, and mouldings for watches cost like a couple of $1,000s, and the watches themselves had massive profit margins in them compared to a $99 dollar cassette deck. So yeah, it's not for me, I'm afraid. So sorry to have got your hopes up there, but it seems there is a reason why nobody's trying to make a high quality cassette deck. It's just, it will cost so much to do, and the reality is that perhaps there isn't the market there for it. Okay, so now that that's done, let's get on to the meat of this video. Now, a lot of you message me through Facebook or through my website and all this, asking me to do this and do that and do this. I need to explain something to you, and this is sort of back to the cassette player I just mentioned. This is a niche hobby. There is not many of us in it. My videos, if they're lucky, get 7,000-8,000 views, not 8 million. I don't have a Patreon. I don't ask you to give me money every month. So when you ask me to do Metal Vertex videos and unwrappings, you have to realise that this channel doesn't wash its face. And what that means is it actually costs me more to open cassettes and, you know, take away all of their collector value. I spend more doing that than I do from getting any ad revenue generation back. So this channel actually costs me money. I don't just do this for fun. I actually pay to have this done for you. So think about that when you're asking me to do comparisons of different cassette decks I don't own. If I was, you know, somebody who was getting 6 million views and was running a Patreon where I had 3,000 people give me $10 a month, that's different. But this channel ain't like that, because again, this is a niche hobby and a niche channel. So keep your expectations low. But saying that, today I'm going to do one of these. It's probably been the most requested cassette. I'd still have some from my personal stash, so what the hell, let's put everyone out of the misery. Let's do the TDK HX-S. Now, in Japan, this was called the HX. And why was it called the HX-S everywhere else? Because of course there's Dolby HX Pro, and I think Dolby took exception to the fact TDK was using two letters which they claim as their trademark, HX. So outside of Japan, this became known as the HX-S. So what's so special about this cassette if you've never used one before? Well, let's let the back explain. High Precision Extra Now, forget all this mol and all that, this is the important bit. Metal magnetic particles. And this is the thing, it says a newly developed metal magnetic particle. So this comes from 1986. Now, a lot of people might think that this is the first metal particle type 2, but it isn't. Because if I bring this into view, this isn't the first metal particle type 2, but if we look on the back, it says here, this is a fourth generation of a process Denon invented in 1983. So Denon is laying claim to being the first people to develop the metal particle type 2. Indeed, I've read things that say that the HX-S actually has Denon tape in it and not TDK tape. And considering that this HX-S was only in the TDK lineup for a short amount of time, you know, it was in the 86 lineup and it didn't survive much longer than that, then that sort of puts credence to the fact that TDK most probably didn't create their own product line and own tape line just to make metal particle tape. Because if they'd made that investment, this would have lasted longer. But they didn't. So why is this tape so special? Well, it's the rarity of it, nowadays the price of it, combined with the fact that it's TDK's only metal particle type 2. And to be fair, I'd say this is one of two of the highlights of the TDK range for me, because strangely enough, the other tape of TDKs which I love, it ain't what you think it is. It's not the MAXG, it's not the SAXG, it's not the MAR. It's this, the TDK SAXS, the only triple coat ferrocobalt that I know of. Because like I say, it doesn't say it on here, but it does on some of them. But if you look at the SA range, this is a triple coated type 2, but let's not snot too much money away in one video, shall we? I'm not going to open this one now. That's going to be for a later video. But yeah, between these two, I think these are the two finest cassettes that TDK have ever made. Yeah, there were some with better shells, but tape-wise, these are the ones for me. So, this pains me to do it, but I guess it doesn't, because I do love these tapes and I'll always find something good to record on it. But let's open her up and have a look. Look at that, it's a lovely nice clean tear that. I kind of hope that I'll be able to just slide this out now, but it never seems to happen that way. Nope, years have been stuck in there. 33 years in this case means that, well, it needs to be torn, unfortunately. Oh, hang on, maybe I can concertina it a bit. Hang on, let's see, turn it inside out. There we go. I can at least half use that again later, I guess, if I want to shove it back in there. But then why would I want to shove it back in there? Because this truly is one of the great cassettes, and I've got some good stuff to record on it. So, if we look at this cassette itself, it's fairly unremarkable. It's basically the 1985-86 SA shell, but with a different black sticker on the bottom that says HX-S. That's about the only physical difference. The shell, like I say, the case is a standard SA case, standard SA labels. You have a lifetime warranty card. Yeah, I mean, it's basically, looks wise, you'd think it's just an SA. The tape itself is it's dull grey. You see that? It's a dull. Oh, it's a shiny grey, but it's not very dark grey. It's a light grey. It's sort of like very unique sort of tape colour. But like I say, is this TDK's? Is this Denon's tape? Who knows? I guess the best way to explain the appeal of this tape, beyond the cost and the rarity and the fact that it's the only metal particle type 2 from TDK, is just to put it in a nice deck and record some music on it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
The truth.
Okay, so I'm going to use my Revox B215 for this today. Now, I'm not saying that I think this is a better deck than the Dragon, but I'm still in a honeymoon period with it. It's such a beautiful deck. It just works so nice and makes such nice recordings that I'm using it again. If you're missing the Dragon, don't worry, it'll be back, but well, it's right there. But yeah, I just like using this at the moment. So I'm not going to run this mega hot because I don't know, as I'm getting older and, you know, using my decks a bit better, I'm finding I don't need to run them quite as hot. I don't really run anything higher than, say, +4 maximum. And I mean, all scales are different, so +4 on this Revox might mean something else on a different deck. But anyway, that's not the point now. This song is called Mirror Mirror, and it's from the YouTube royalty-free library. And let's just have a listen to it to listen if this tape lives up to its reputation. Now just listen. Yeah. Now, I won't say that didn't sound good, it did. But there wasn't a lot of Type 2 metal particle tapes made. If they were amazing be-all end-all, most brands would have made them, and there would have been plentiful like ferrocobalt Type 2s. But really, the only ones you can get were the TDK HX-S. You had that with their EX and EMX. You had Denon with the HD8, and there was some Memorex as well. I think there were HB2s, but all were short-lived. And the thing is, right, I don't know whether it's age or what, but yes, you could record these very hot, but I've been recording this hot and I was hearing distortion. I mean, normally I wouldn't record a tape at +7, I really wouldn't. But I was recording this at around +7, +8, and it was distorting. That was mostly at +4, peaking maybe at 6 every now and then. And it sounded well enough, but the hiss. There's a lot of hiss. And you need to compensate for that hiss by recording it hotter. And the point is, I think this is more of a collecting curio than, you know, actually being the amazing £30, £40 tape that this is. And yeah, we'll talk a bit more about it in a second. So like I just said, there's a question here. Is this cassette so liked and so revered because it is rare and it is expensive, or is it because of how it sounds? And my point is this, right? If TDK didn't make this tape inside it, and it came from Denon, who claims who created it first, does it sound better than a Denon HD8? Well, in my opinion it doesn't, but you can get a Denon HD8 for about the third of a price of an HX-S. Why? Because of the collector value. And that's the thing with this tape, it is more about the collector value, the fact it's TDK's only Type 2 metal particle, and the fact it was in the range for such a short amount of time. That's what's elevated this to the legendary status it's got, more than the sound quality. Yes, the sound quality sounds good, but compare this, say, with this, which again you can get for about at least half to a third of the price. This to me sounds a much better tape, but it doesn't have the mystique of the HX-S, and that's what you're buying with this. If you want something that sounds like a HX-S, get a Denon HD8, they're a lot cheaper. But if you really want to have one of TDK's rarest and most thought of cassettes that were only around for a short amount of time, then nothing else will satisfy you other than getting a HX-S. I mean, I don't even have these for sale on my website, they are that rare. The ones I've got are my own personal stash, and like I say, it could well be perception. Because they're rare, because they're expensive, I perceive they sound amazing. When in reality, they sound good, but they don't sound like a £30 to £40 cassette. You know, when you spend that kind of money, spend half the price, get yourself a proper Type 4 metal, you know, get yourself a Metal XR. That'll sound just as good and cost you half as much. So there we go. I wasn't trying to be down on the cassette, but a lot of you wanted to see it, wanted to hear it. Oh, I forgot. Here's one of the adverts that they use for advertising it, which I really like. Yeah, it's a really good advert, that, you know, saying basically this is technically the first CD cassette. That's what it was saying in that advert. But yeah, if you really want one, you won't be let down, but it is really more as a collecting curio than a £40 tape. Alright then, well, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, happy taping. Bye bye.